change our habits. This is how cities look without driverless cars, and this is how they're going to look with driverless cars. There's not going to be any change. Maybe less parking because people are going to share more cars, but we're going to have a lot more trips. You don't even need a driver's license. You can be 5, 10, 20, 100. You might even have people-less cars, so there's going to be a lot more congestion. Also more sprawl because people say, oh, if I'm not driving, I don't care if I live 10 minutes further. So we need to decide, how are we going to regulate technology? Technology has to work for people, not people for technology. That makes a big difference. So it can be heaven or hell, it's up to us. Riding bicycles, this could be Tucson. Fantastic, why not? It's totally doable. By the way, I want to remind you of something. You need to benchmark with good cities. If Tucson, if you want to compare with cities, if you want to find cities that are worse than you, in 5 minutes you can do a list of 1,000 cities. But if you compare yourself with cities that are worse, eventually you're going to look like those. No, you're going to say, which cities of similar size and income level, which has the best cycling, which has the best quality of air, which one has the best level of happiness, of public health, of mental, of physical, and so on. And of course you are doing things. This morning I told some of the decision makers that you are doing, but in many cases at the speed of the turtle. So what happens? You say, oh, I might be slow, but I'm ahead of you. No, benchmark with the best. Benchmark with Copenhagen. What does Copenhagen? Well, you gotta be as good as them. If you want to promote cycling, you can be like Copenhagen. Except that there it rains all year round. It's horrible. But 41 out of 100 trips are done on bicycles. In the downtown is 61%. But citywide is 41. And they're not saying 41 is enough. They want to go to 50%. And men don't need shirts in the summer. And women don't need special shoes. And then now they're having public bikes with the GPS. But you need the public bikes is once you have the infrastructure. People are worried about the bikes. Oh, let's have a bike share. No, it's not the bikes. You know, bikes are very inexpensive. You go to a garage sale and you buy one for $20. So bicycle is not the issue. The issue is where to ride them. That's what you need, a grid. That's why, and they continue to improve and do more. At one level is for cycling, and another is for pedestrian, and lower is for cars. Some of these, the ones that have this, all the traffic lights are the speed of the cyclist. This bridge was done in the last 3 years. When I took this photo at 10 a.m., 11, 16,000 cyclists had gone by with all of this snow and cold and so on. And it's people of all ages and all conditions. That's what we need here in Tucson. If we're going to improve bikeability, it's not about charros. You know, you have a lot of this. You have charros, like these ones, and you have the parked cars. You're forcing the cyclists to protect the parked cars. Whoops, what happened here? The cyclists protecting the parked cars instead of moving the parked cars and having them protect the cyclists. It's simple as that. You move the parked cars and then you put the cyclists. It's not about signage, it's not about parking, it's not about lockers or maps or teaching, it's not about racks on the buses, it's not about just painted lines. You know, this is like getting the saddle before the horse. Think of someone that doesn't bike in Tucson because they are afraid. It can be you, your spouse, your parents, your children. Would that person start biking if you do bicycle parking? Or if you do maps? Or if you do racks on the buses? No. The only two ways it might make it nicer for the 1% that are cycling, it might make it nicer, but it won't get more cyclists. To get more cyclists is simple. Two things. First, we need to lower the speed where people live. So residential street at 20 miles or less. And we need to create a grid of protected bikeways. So everything I said about walking at 20 miles is the same thing for cycling. But we need to create a network of AAA bikeways. What is AAA? All ages and all abilities. It's for everybody. We're going to think of daytime and nighttime and rain and summer and winter. I'm thinking of anybody. And if you got the money and the political decision, make it permanent. If you don't, make it temporary, but don't just paint. Sometimes we paint the line. We do what is really hard, is to get the politicians to give the space, and then we paint a line. And we don't do what's easy. Enhance that painted line by just putting some plastic bollards, and it's going to make a world of difference. If you have the plastic bollards, we need to create a network. Because nothing as important as connectivity. If you don't buy because you are afraid, and now 20% of the ride is safe, but 80% is still in the middle of the cars, you are not going to buy it. So it has to be city-wide, like the power grid, like the water grid, bicycle grid. And the quality of the infrastructure is a symptom of the respect that we have for people. We gotta improve public transit. My brother that became mayor again 2 years ago, he said that the civilized city is not the one where the poor have cars. It's the one where the rich use public transit. We need to create public transit that is good for everybody. So also something else that he does, which I recommend for Tucson, 1 day a year, there's no private cars. None, zero. Imagine a city of 8 million people, 0 cars. Imagine if in Tucson for 1 day. Then it gets people thinking, what is the role of the car? And you can have kids in elementary schools doing drawings. What does a city look like without cars? Kids in secondary, in high school, and in universities can do research. What is the role of the cars? Also, you could have the senior people in the city, mayor, councilors, and decision makers, 1 week of the year, no private car. They can take transit, or walk, or bike, and then they can see how good or bad it is. Not just 1 day, because then they postpone all meetings for the following day. 1 week. So we gotta have public transit everywhere. Sometimes it can be buses, sometimes it can be LRTs. So there can be many options. I know you don't have this horrible weather, but the analogy, think of this, but thinking of the hot weather. Someone said everybody's gonna get out of their car. I said, you think people are gonna get out of their car when this is what the bus stop looks like? This is a high school for 1,500 students. So I decided to show that mayor another bus stop. And he said, Gil, why are you showing me this? I said, maybe that's what the bus stop would look like if the decision makers use the bus service. You know, people keep saying, Gil, we need infrastructure for public transit. Infrastructure? Look at Tucson from the air. 35% of the city are roads, are streets. Already 35. You want it 45? You want it 55, 60? How much do you want? So let's think of the mobility math. We gotta start thinking, do we want one of these or 140 of those? One of those or 145? I mean, we just need to make a decision. How are we gonna split the space that belongs to all of us? And now you are talking about complete streets. So complete streets is not just a check mark. Okay, walk, bike, transit, cars, checked. No, not really. There are some streets where you're not going to have people walking or cycling. Others where you're not going to have cars. Or, you know. So also some people are talking about shared streets. And some people are coming with some cute idea to say, oh, let's mix everybody. Let's take out all of the signs. Let's have people negotiating. And then people are really going to slow down. I don't really want this guy negotiating anything. Or this little girl. And even if we do, we need to have the most vulnerable. Also, in complete streets, we also got to think of children and older adults and poor. We also got to think of democracy. We cannot have 80 people on public transit at the speed of the cars, of one person on the cars. It's also about flexibility, so that the complete streets can have different uses. On Sundays, it can be for cyclovia. We also have walking. It's more than walking. Walking is not just to go to point A to point B. Walking is where we meet friends. We meet boyfriends and girlfriends. So we need trees and benches. And we need at the front level, at the street level, we need retail. We need sidewalks. Sidewalk is the most important infrastructure of any in the city are the sidewalks. Actually, the sidewalks should not even be run by the streets. The sidewalks are more a cousin, a family member of the parks than of the streets. Because then we go and we sit and we watch people and we do other things. So sidewalks are absolutely great. We also ride bicycles. But riding bicycles, we need to have where to ride it. And we also got to use public transit. And in public transit, we got to have frequency, connectivity. You know, the other day, the mayor of Malmo, Sweden, told me, Gil, you know, people didn't like the buses. So you know what he did with his buses? He put a nose on the bus, he covered the wheels, and now they look like trains. Part of it is marketing. Part of it is how to dignify the use. You know, just a couple of images that is not a lot of dignity with. You don't really want to ride that bus. Or even this one, might be sushi, but you gotta tell people, part of it is dignity. Sell the advertisement, but don't sell the windows. Even it's bad for safety. At night, you don't see what's going on inside. We need to dignify. It's about complicity. It's about equity. It's about integrating, not segregating. It's about also keeping the public in public areas. So it's not just about a check mark. So complicity is really make sure that they are truly complete. 6, everybody learns from everybody. I know some of you, and oh my God, sorry, I'm going to wrap up in 10 minutes because there are 2 more, sorry. In Tucson, you're going to think you're different. You got nothing in common with Copenhagen or Bogota. I know, in Tucson you're saying, oh Gil, we are unique. I know, like Margaret Mead said, always remember that you are absolutely unique, just like everyone else. This is not like on the computer that we copy and paste. No, it's about adapting and improving. Even within Tucson, each neighborhood is different, each street is different, each corner. But it's not adapting, it's not about copying, but everything that I'm saying, you can adapt and you can improve. Let me show you a city like Melbourne. Melbourne has almost the same weather that you have in Tucson. Very hot, in the summer especially. 30 years ago, it would not have been one of the top 300 cities in the world. Even they made fun of themselves, an empty, useless city center. This is a really good example for Tucson. Similar in size, the population, 500,000 people, and so they're putting public art all over the place. But not art for cars at 60 miles an hour, but for people at 3 miles an hour. They are planting trees everywhere. Look at the streets without any trees and the same street with trees. It's totally transformative. It's something that is really exciting. The trees are good for health and for business and for the environment. Also, they're investing in public places. And they're investing in public transit. And it's exciting, some of the things that they're doing. For example, they had all of these laneways that were dark and horrible. And then the city said, why don't you set up a business? Set up a restaurant, a flower shop. And then the city is giving them seed money. So like here in the downtown, many people don't want to come. So the city says, I'll give you $50,000. Because I know that it's easier to do that same business or the art or whatever you want to do in a more established way. So the city is helping them out in some ways because it's going to be a win-win. Everything that you put in the public space, make sure that it's good. Whether it's someone's shoe shining or selling flowers. Look at this. Beautiful street furniture. I said, you make a lot of money? They said, no, it's not about the money. More than money. We could rent this for $1,000 a month. Instead, we said, no, we're going to rent it only for $100. But you got to keep all of this area clean. If you see anyone doing anything bad, drugs or selling stolen merchandise, you got to call the police. Don't get involved, but the most important, the time. You gotta open Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. Or later, no earlier than 8 p.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 24 hours. So what do they say? They said, they're not going to sell a lot of flowers at 3 a.m. But people are going to feel safe because they're walking and they know that this block there is a flower shop, the next one is a fruit shop, the next one something else. So when you're thinking of the public space here in downtown Tucson, this is at noon, this is like at 7 p.m., this is at midnight, and people feel safe. So it's also about, this person, you dignify the person. You say, oh, I'm good. I'm using the space that belongs to everybody. It's not that the public space doesn't belong to anybody. Just the opposite. It belongs to everybody. So it has to be almost sacred. They used to have a river going right through the middle of Melbourne, and they were all factories next to the river. They took down the factories and created a beautiful linear park, and they're doing all of these wonderful pedestrian bridges, and it totally revitalized the city. No one wanted to live downtown. And look now, everybody wants to live downtown. They don't need a car, they got lots of activities. And some people are telling me, Gil, but what do we do outside of the center of Tucson? First, don't let the city grow anymore. Whether you need to go to the state or whatever, it's horrible. You won't be able, you are doomed for life if you continue sprawling. But look this idea. This is very similar. This is something that you could do here. Unfortunately, I didn't show it this morning because I didn't know that was a big issue. But okay, you can have the downtown in one place, and then any place where you're going to do either a bus rapid transit or a light rail or the streetcars. What are they doing? They're telling people, look, here where people live is like the suburbs of Tucson. If you live here, you are a slave to the car.